Oh no, you're not doing it. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening.
Sorry, I was miles away.
I was waiting for you to say no. And welcome to episode 7 of the. We're going to call this the Premier League podcast. We might go off topic with other sports, but this is directly just talking about the Premier League over the weekend. And go into a few news stories that have happened, just to have a little conversation and have a little chat about it, and then carry on from there. While you're here, please don't forget to go and click on the links down below in the social media pages. Go and follow us. Go and give us a like as well, so that we know what we're doing, and give us a little comment in the comment section down below as well, what we can do to try and improve as well. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget on the top right, you could subscribe and click that bell as well on there as well to get instant notification for when we go live or when a video gets released to you guys. So we are going to be going to do live videos in the future. We will be doing live streams going forward, but we're just picking the times and days and when we all can sort of get together. And maybe I've just realized my hands are moving like Donald Trump stick. Hands still. So we will be doing some more. We will be doing live streams. We haven't done any yet. We've done a couple of test ones to see how we get going and what we do. But we will be doing stuff and going forward. We are still doing our Instagram lives after each Reading game. So come and check us out there. We can come and get in a conversation. We don't just talk about Reading. If you want to come in and have a conversation about something else, we're happy enough to do that as well at the same time as well. Don't forget as well, this week we have released a podcast on Monday discussing about the Reading Stoke game. Tuesday, we released our very first wrestling podcast for you guys to go and check that out. Where it literally that episode was nothing to do with much. All it was getting to know us and why me and my friend Gulam or Mr. Ali, will be going through and talking about why we love wrestling and certain topics, why we think. And then starting next week, we will be building up to Survivor Series, where it will be Undertaker's Undertaker's retirement, which that whole week on BT Sport is going to be very emotional, as he was all through my childhood and everything. So we will be doing that. Don't forget today and this Friday coming up, we are releasing a podcast with me, Ryan, and Adam, where we sat down and we discussed Reading. We've discussed Reading over the past month or so, discussing what went on, what we think went well. We also discussed a few talking points of the Championship the past week or so. And we also did our predictions as well for the upcoming fixtures over the next month or so. So go and check that out this Friday where we do it as well. So let's get into it. So how are you anyway? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. What about you?
I'm all right. I had a job interview, to everyone listening. Ryan knows. I had a job interview yesterday. For you guys watching this, had one today this morning. Just waiting to see how I get on the replies. Hopefully we get a thumbs up and carry on going from there. Right, Premier League action. Let's cover Friday's action first, and then we'll get to Saturdays and Sundays. So Friday's action was Brighton versus Burnley, and then it was Southampton versus Newcastle Man Gotumpe. So yeah. Right, so let's get into it. Let's get into Southampton. They beat Newcastle 2-0 with Che Adams and Scott Armstrong goal. And at that point, they went top of the league. What are you thinking about Southampton at that time? We know that your love for Ralph Hasselhorton, that you love him. But do you think they'll finish top 6 with the way they're playing at the moment? Even though Danny Ings is now out, I think, for a couple of months with a knee surgery that he needs to have.
Yeah, but they kind of proved at the weekend that they're still a good side even without him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason why not. They need to be taken seriously as contenders because they're up there. And you've seen with the Premier League already this season, anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah.
It's just so unpredictable. So I don't see any reason.
Do you think they have the? Do they have the strength and depth though for them to give that push?
I don't think it's even about strength and depth because they've got obviously they've got one of the best youth setups in the country.
Mm-hmm.
They've got players that are capable, and you've seen. I think they've played a couple of youngsters already this season. They've got players that are capable of stepping up need be. A lot of people were thinking, would they still be able to score and like get the firepower without having Ings the way he's been playing?
Mm-hmm.
But you saw at the weekend, Adams stepped up. They've got Ward-Prowse, who's been superb. I saw he's had to withdraw from the England squad, but hopefully it's nothing too serious. And he'll be back back in time for the next Premier League game.
Mm-hmm. So, talking of taken seriously, Man United, they had two poor against Arsenal, and then they went to Trabzonspor and got, I wouldn't say annihilated, but defensively they looked absolutely all over the place. They come back and they beat Everton 3-1. Is he? We talk about Man United a lot on here, and I talked about it on the previous podcast, not previous one coming up as well on Friday, about my thinking about Man United. They got 2 goals. They went 1-0 down with Bernard scored, and then 2 Bruno Fernandes goals with Edison Cavani finishing it off in the 95th minute. Can Man United recover from the I would say a poor start, because at this precise moment they are 14th in the league. Played 7, won 3, drawn 1, lost 3, -2 goal difference, and a points total of 10. If they win their game in hand, the highest that they can go up to is 10th, which is the same game in hand of Manchester City, who are on 7 as well. And if they win theirs, they can go up to 5th. And the highest they can go up to is maybe 5th. Do you think is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the right man to push this team forward?
No.
Okay, then. So, what will take who? Okay, because we talked about this on the podcast coming up, and we talked about a little bit about it before. But if you had the money to employ a new manager, who would you have?
If I was Man United,
Yeah.
I think it's a choice between 3.
Okay.
I think they either go Pochettino,
Mm-hmm.
Simone, or
Mm-hmm.
Zidane.
Okay.
But do they still have the attraction about them?
I think Man United will always have the attraction. It's one of those clubs that it's just so well known, and so built for the world because of what Sir Alex did. I don't think anyone
but I
coming in.
mean, in terms of Simone, for one, could they attract him away from Atletico?
So at the moment, Atletico Madrid are 3rd with 2 games in hand. If they win both of those games in hand, they will go top. Real Madrid are 4th with 1 game in hand. And if they win theirs, the highest they can go is 2nd. They're 4th on 16 points with 1 game behind. Atletico are 2 games behind on 17. So Atletico, if they win both their games in hand, could be top. Real Madrid could be 3rd, sorry. And Barcelona could be about 8th at the moment, but they have 2 games in hand as well. But okay then, so let's not talk about league position. Let's talk about not structure, but reputation.
Yeah, but also they're not able to attract the caliber of player that they want to go. You see every summer they're like, their fans are always, oh, let's sign this player, let's sign that player. Whereas, like, look at a couple of summers ago, the expectation they were like their fans were saying were, oh, let's go and get Royce, let's go and get Hummels, let's go and get Boateng.
Mm-hmm.
Let's attract these like world-class players with European experience. The reality of it, they went and paid 50 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who at the time had one good season. So you're linked with Marco Royce, and you're signing Dan James.
Mm. Is it the players that they can't attract, or is it the recruitment that's not? Is it the recruitment side that's letting them down?
Both. I think they're failing to attract the players, but they've also got a shit recruitment set up. How much control does the manager actually have over there? Because I don't think at Man United they actually have much control.
I think it's like most clubs. They give a list of players that they want, and I think it's up to Ed Woodward and the Glaziers to go and get them.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it goes.
But I don't think they're signing the players that they want. And that is why I don't think they have the ability.
Are they not signing the players that the Glaziers and Woodward don't want, or are they signing or are the Glaziers and Woodward signing the players they want for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
I think it's Glaziers and Woodward signing for Solskjaer. I don't think. Do you think that Solskjaer would have gone out and said, "We want Edison Cavani"? Because I don't think that's a Solskjaer signing.
Yeah, but then if you look at the Man United attack at the same time, they have no one of his caliber there. You had before him, we had Falcao,
Rashford
has had
really good season.
Would you class Rashford as a striker though?
I think he should be playing as a striker, yes.
So if you had him or Martial, you would play him over Martial?
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with you. I'm just putting it out there. Okay. So they got another victory. And then Marcel Bielsa's Leeds went for an away trip to Crystal Palace, where VAR played a big part of this as well. At half-time, Crystal Palace were 3-1 up. They won the game 4-1 altogether. I saw a comment over the past few days as well, and I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think Marcel Bielsa is too naive in his tactics against teams, or is it one of those situations where they were just outclassed? Because if you look at Leeds, let's have a little ganzer at Leeds. They lost their fixture 4-1. I'm just going to quickly go and find it. I do apologise for this as well.
Leeds 4-1 loss to Palace, 4-1 loss to Leicester, 3-0 win over Villa, 1-0 loss to Wolves, 1-1 with Man City, beat Sheffield United 1-0, beat Fulham 4-3, and then lost 4-3 to Liverpool.
Okay, let's take the last two fixtures. So the last two fixtures, they've lost 4-1.
Yeah.
Is he being too naive against some of these managers and teams, or is it a realization that Leeds are not where we expect, but certain games they'll turn up and not turn up?
I think that, yeah, because 4-1 against Leicester. Leicester are a good team. I think they could probably win the league this year. Palace, however, I think Palace are the kind of team that they're there for the taking. I think last season, no ground saw fewer goals than Selhurst Park. And the fact that they've gone there and conceded 4. Like, I'm going to have a quick look. When was the last time that Crystal Palace scored 4 in a game?
I ain't got a clue. But it's quite good. While you go and search that, Scott Dan scored, Eze got a goal, Costa got an own goal, and Jordan Ayew got a goal as well. And Bamford got his first goal, but then his second goal, or one of the goals that he should have got another one for, was ruled offside for his arm pointing to where he wanted the ball. So VAR, let's discuss VAR for a sec, shall we? VAR is a very good concept. It's a very good idea, and it has very good ideas. They're not doing it right. Let's be honest. The thing that I don't get the most is One, the handball situation, and the second, the offside situation. So Patrick Bamford, the goal, his positioning of the way
I've got an answer now.
Go on.
The last time Crystal Palace scored 4 goals in a Premier League game was May 2019.
So over a year and a half.
Yeah, so Palace scored 4 in a Premier League game for the first time in 46 fixtures.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But yeah, no, and to go off with the Bamford thing as well, it's interesting to see as well, because I think the offside rule needs to change slightly to accommodate VAR. Because if you're pointing, if I'm literally pointing and I'm offside because of my arm, that's not a goal scoring place I can score. The only place I can legally score is my shoulder and my foot and my head and my body and my bum. But your arm cannot be the point of where you go offside, because that is not what you're going to score with. So for me, that's wrong. I think if your foot's offside, I get that. That's fine. Do whatever. Your knee, yeah, any body part you could score with is the offside position, and the arm, you cannot be it. As well as with the handball law, and I'm going to get into the Man City Liverpool game now, and we'll jump back to Chelsea. Man City Liverpool game. Liverpool's penalty was a penalty because it was a hack on Walker, got chopped down Mane, and it was a penalty. Then Man City got a penalty, which for me is not a penalty, because
However, I will say about that, if they give the one against Wolves, which they did in the earlier game, then they have to give that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. No, I agree with you. But that shouldn't be the law.
But I will say, actually,
your arms still need to move in a run. If your arm's out like this and you get hit, handball. If your arm's down by your side, how you can't move it.
I think as well that first one in the Leicester game, the handball was clear. I think it was definitely a penalty.
Yeah.
Because his hand was out there. He blocked the cross with his hand.
Mm-hmm. So if his hand's in an unnatural position, that doesn't mean arms behind your back. That means the running motion of your hand. If your hand is in the running,
there.
Not up here, down here, over here, around here. If it's in a running motion, then yeah, it's not a penalty. But with Joe Gomez's penalty, good thing that they missed and it finished 1-1, and it was a good game. But let's go back to the Chelsea game. Chelsea on Saturday as well went 1-0 down with David McGoldrick getting a goal. They finally scored after they scored a few, but they keep losing by 1 goal. And then Tammy Abraham and Bill and Ben Chilwell got first half goals. In the second half, Thiago Silva and Timo Werner finished it off. Have Chelsea now clicked?
I don't know. I think it's still too early to tell, because Chelsea are a very inconsistent team at the moment. I think they're getting there, but
so let's talk about Chelsea. So their last fixture.
I'll say it this way. Let me just say it this way, quick.
Yeah.
Chelsea are the kind of team I could see them going to Anfield getting a result. I can see them beating Tottenham, but then I can go and see them struggling against someone like Brighton.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So Chelsea's last 5 fixtures, I think 6 fixtures, was Seville in the Champions League. They drew 0-0. They went to Old Trafford, got a draw out of that. Beat Trabzonspor 4-0. They then went to Burnley away, beat them 3-0. Played Rennes in the Champions League, won 3-0. And they played Sheffield United on Saturday and won 4-1. They are currently in the table at 5th. Played 8, 15 points. They're 3 points behind the leaders, Leicester, at the moment. I think they finally clicked.
Yeah, I do too.
And do you know what? Do you know what I think's made them click? Their goalkeeper.
I think it was that game against West Brom, the real turning point, where they were 3-0 down at half time.
Yeah.
Was it 3-0 at half time, or was it 3-1?
I think it was
3-0 at half time.
I think they're going to be top 4. I'll tell you what. Excuse me, I do apologize for the burp. Hakam Ziyech got 2 assists, in that game. I tell you what, he is an absolute top quality, world class player, isn't he? I think he's probably going to, it might go down as the best summer signing Chelsea made. Timo Werner's getting goals.
No matter what, I think their keeper will be the best summer signing for
Yeah,
them.
I think so as well. But I think it's quite interesting. I look at their lineup and they play like a 4-3-3. With Mount Kante Kovic in the middle, with Ziyech, Tammy Abraham, who's getting in the goals as well now, and Timo Werner, who's getting in the goals as well. They seem like a very attacking team, and defensively, they've started to shut up shop with Ben Chilwell playing really well, probably some of the best he's played in quite a while. You've got Thiago Silva, who was captain that game as well. You could see he's a world class player. And Kurt Zuma, Reece James. Um, Reece James is more and more becoming into the team. It's quite telling as well that Reece James is starting with Kurt Zuma, Thiago Silva, and there's no Aspilicueta in the starting 11 because he's always been a fixture. And it just shows they've got more and more strength in depth and more quality now.
I'm a fan of that with my dream team as well.
Have you got Aspilicueta in your team?
James.
Oh, have you? Oh, that's right. So yeah, I think Chelsea are up there, and I think they're coming back to normal. And let's discuss Fulham for a sec. Lookman, what are you doing? Absolute banana. Absolute banana. I don't really know what to say. They go. West Ham get a goal the 91st minute. And then they get a penalty in the 98th, I think it is, something minute, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. Just going to double check here. 98th minute, they get a penalty.
And then you try and fucking chip it.
And then he Panikas it. What was he doing? I understand what he was trying to do. Okay. I get the balls of the man to try and do it because it's the 98th minute and you're not expected to do something like that. I get it. And at the same time, I saw a lot of Fulham fans saying, right, they would go absolutely mental at the player, but he's been their best player this season. And he's the only one that's directing and doing stuff. So I get that. But when you're in a situation like that, and it comes with experience as well, he's still a young lad. You just got to smash it, and yeah?
Yeah. I saw a replay of it the other day when we was recording on Sunday, I think it was. It was just before the Tottenham game.
Yeah.
And where I was watching it, they were talking about the weekend's football. And the angle, you could just see Tom Kearney behind him, just like facing his hands.
So talking of games that they have to start getting points now. Tottenham got a 1-0 win in the 88th minute from Harry Kane, who has now scored his 150th Premier League goal. And that's his 201st goal in his career. He's one of those players that no matter if it's 8 goals in 8 games he's now got. He's on the form of his life at this precise moment. It's also the form of his life for my fantasy football as well. Keep going, lad.
Who are you on about? Sorry,
Harry Kane.
Okay.
He's one of those players that even if he's not scoring, you still need him in your team for his work rate and his. I think he needs to win a trophy. Him as a player on his own deserves a trophy because
let's hope it's a European one and not Tottenham.
Yeah, let's hope he wins the World Cup for England. I think he deserves something, and I think this could be the season this year where Tottenham win a trophy. I think it's either going to be Europa League, maybe a cup. It might be one of the cups.
I'm going to say something now as well, and I think you'll like me saying this. I'm tempted to put money on Rangers winning the Europa League.
Yeah.
because they're just flying.
Yeah, it's quite scary how what Steven Gerrard has done with this Rangers team.
That's it as well. Like in the Europa League, I don't think they've actually got that easy of a group.
No, they're top of their group at the moment as well. They've got Benfica.
Standard Liège.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
I can't remember.
Benfica, Standard Liège, and Lech Poznan.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm trying to find the stats about Gerrard because I saw him the other day.
And to go and win 8-0 at the weekend.
It's just unbelievable. I want to find the stats. Let me just pause the video for a sec. I'm going to go and find the stats. Hold on. All right, just found it. You guys will be like, hello, goodbye. Hello again. It's Rangers won 8-0 on the weekend. They're top of the Scottish Premiership, top of their Europa League group, undefeated in every competition they're in. They scored 54 goals this season, and they've kept 16.
Wait, is that 54 competitive goals?
It says 54 goals scored.
Yeah, no, because so that breakdown, I'll quickly break it down. That's 6 goals in the Europa League in 3 games. If you remember the games, I remember the goals.
Benfica was 3-3.
Yeah, so they've scored 6 in the Europa League.
And then they played.
They've scored 37 in the league, so that's 43 in 17 games in the Europa League and the Scottish Premier League.
And out of 20 games this season, Rangers have kept 16 clean sheets. He's done absolutely phenomenal. I think they're probably
10 in the Scottish League Cup.
I think they'll probably win this. I think they're on the course to go and win the league, but you never know.
Yeah,
you never want to put it against them.
They are 9 points clear, but Celtic have 2 games in hand.
There we go. So it's going to be interesting now to see how Rangers will keep up with this, and see if they keep going. So that's an important game. And let's move on to Sundays. We talked about Tottenham, but let's talk about Leicester and Wolves. I really thought this could be a draw. I think Leicester are a good team, but I also think Wolves are a very good team as well.
That was, in terms of like betting, that's a game that I wouldn't have touched.
Yeah.
Could have gone either way and could have. Yeah.
You know those teams that you just like you don't support them, but you like them. You're like, oh, I like Leicester. Like we're like under Brendan Rodgers. I like Leicester. I like watching them play. It's quite nice attacking, free-flowing football. And then I look at Wolves and I go, I like Wolves. They play some different kind of football. I enjoy watching them. And I look out for them as well because I quite enjoy them. And I really, really like Nuno Santo as well as a manager. So for me, I would have been happy with the draw with that game. Happy Leicester won because they're now top of the league. They are top of the league with 1 point ahead of Tottenham, 2 points ahead of Liverpool, and 4 and no, sorry, I do apologise. 1 point ahead of Tottenham, 1 point ahead of Liverpool, 2 points ahead of Southampton, 3 points ahead of Chelsea and Villa in the top in the league so far. So it's interesting so far. Liverpool v Man City. I think that was a fair result, 1-1. Salah scored a good penalty. Jesus scored a good goal as well. Do you think that was a fair result, 1-1?
Yeah. The later stages of the game, it really seemed like it was 2 teams that were scared to lose rather than wanting to win.
Yeah, no,
it was a bit of a drab end to the game.
Yeah, I agree on that. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes and where we go from here as well. Where them to kick on from here. And then the late game on Sunday evening, an absolute shocker for Arsenal, losing 3-0 Bukayo Saka got an own goal, and then 2 goals in 3 minutes for Ollie Watkins. Against an Arsenal team where Arteta come out at the end of the game, and for the first time he went, "That's the first time I've seen Arsenal not play as a team." And I think he said that that's the first time he's noticed how different and off point that they were during that game. And he's right. He's got a point. Do you think that does anything for Villa? Do you think, because at the moment they're top 6, Arsenal are 11th on 8 points on 8 games as well. Do you think Villa will stay top half?
Again, a lot like Southampton, I can see them getting in there.
I'm only saying that is bearing in mind we've got Wolves.
It's just about consistency as well, isn't it?
You look at it. You look at the bottom half of the league as well. You've got Man United, Arsenal, Man City. You got Leeds that might not be there. You got West Ham and Newcastle as well, all in the bottom half, looking after this international break to push on. For me,
that's it as well. Another one, West Ham. West Ham have been very good this season. They've picked up a few surprising results, like drawing with City and West Ham, beating Leicester, beating Wolves comfortably. So I'll go through West Ham quick. They lost 2-0 to Newcastle first game, lost 2-1 to Arsenal second, beat Wolves 4-0 third game, beat Leicester 3-0, drew 3-3 with Tottenham, drew 1-1 with Man City, lost 2-1 to Liverpool, and beat Fulham 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some very good results there, and they're only 12th.
Yeah, I still think that they will fall off.
But that again, it just shows how competitive the league is this year.
Yeah, and I think it also really helps that there's no fans, because I think if there was fans in, there would be completely different results happening.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and we will go from there. There's another thing happening on today. That there's a hearing going on today with Greg Clark, the FA boss. I'm going to quote some of the comments he said. He had to go to Parliament today to discuss some of the comments that he said in the past and some of the comments that he's made. He described Bane players as coloured players in some of the evidence that he talked about as well. He also said in one of these comments as well, if I look at what happens to high-profile female footballers, to high-profile coloured players, and the abuse they take on social media is a free-for-all. Some of the stuff that he said as well about female players, about the Bane players as well. He seems to have annoyed a lot of people, and that's going on today. And I just wanted to say that if that's the stance he takes, I think he needs to leave. You can't be having players or people in that much power being that disrespectful and using that type of language towards coloured players, as he calls them, or Bane players, or anyone, or female. He's been sexist and racist in both of his comments, and we're in 2020. We're not the 19 whatever it is. I think you've got to be very. I think the person with his powers got to be very careful in what he says and how he does things, and he hasn't been. But that's a really, really tough subject to talk about.
We're pretty much in 2021.
Yeah. Well, we're just hoping to get rid of this shit year anyway. Okay then. So we're gonna do a couple questions before we move on. We've got, after the international break, we've got a few games in November. At the end of December, I'm going to ask this now, and we can review it at the end of the year. At the end of December, Who do you think is going to be top 4?
I can see it staying roughly how it is, to be honest. So the current top 4 is Leicester, Tottenham, Liverpool, Southampton. I will go down to sort of 11th because I think, well, there's 6 points between Leicester at top and Arsenal in 11th.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Leicester, Tottenham, Liverpool, Southampton, Chelsea, Villa, Everton, Palace, Wolves, Man City, Arsenal. And then as well, I say you've got Man United in 14th because they've got a game in hand. So they could be in the sort of top 10 if they win that.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I can see it's about at the top who I can see maintaining their form. I can see Leicester holding on how they are at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Same for Tottenham, same for Liverpool. Southampton are another team, obviously. You know, I like Southampton a lot. I can see them holding on. But their fixtures, let me just have a look who they've got. They've got a few tough games coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see them being lower top half, sort of 7th, 8th by the end. So I think at Christmas, the top 4 will be Leicester, Tottenham, Liverpool, and Chelsea.
Okay. Who's going to be bottom 3?
I can't really see it changing much, to be honest. Obviously, the bottom 3, I believe.
Sheffield United bottom,
Yeah.
Burnley second bottom.
Yeah, they're the only 3 teams that haven't actually won a game yet, are they?
No, they haven't won a game yet. West Brom, Burnley, and Sheffield United haven't won a game yet.
Yeah, I hope Sheffield United turn it round. They've got winnable games. So I reckon the bottom 3, I think Sheffield United will get out of that relegation zone by Christmas. I reckon the bottom 3 will be Burnley, West Brom, and Fulham.
Okay. Let's have a look and see. We will come back to this and see where it will be at the end of December. But yes, that is it. That is the Premier League.
I will say as well, I hope Burnley pick their form up. West Brom, Fulham, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm. Burnley, I think Sean Dyche will turn it around. They've got they're selling as well, so they've got new owners that might be coming in soon as well. To an Egyptian owner that's coming in might spend some money to help him grow the club and build them up and get some signings in January. Sheffield United, I think, will kick on at some point. They will stay up, I think, as well. But be interested to see how he gets on now. I'd be interested to see. But yes, that's the end of this episode. Thank you guys ever so much for coming on and listening and enjoying our dulcet tones. We will be back with you guys next week just to have a little review over the news. Any stories that have come out, anything that's gone on, anything that's happened. We will review that next week and go over it and have a little bit more of a conversation about it. But we will also discuss as well this time next week the England games that are coming up. We've got it. Potentially, there might be one less game that we won't be playing against Iceland because they're in Denmark a few days before and we might have to forfeit it. But we're still playing Belgium, I think, at the moment, I'm hearing, and we're still playing Ireland. So it's just the Iceland game that we have to forfeit. So we have to wait and see what happens with that and then go from there. But we will have a discussion about that and see how it goes on next week. But thank you guys ever so much for watching. Don't forget to go and check out other videos as well. And don't forget to go and listen to them as well. If there is any feedback you'd like to give us, put it down below as well. And we look forward to see you guys for the next video. Bye. Bye. You're not waving. Bye.